So whether you hear something right in front of you or somewhere in the distance, to create the illusion of three-dimensional music. Hey everyone, my name is Christoph Jakob, I'm a music composer for video games, and today let's once more check out one of the new hero mode tunes from Splatoon 3. Let's go! I love the pace. There's a lot going on in this tune. This tune caught my attention right away for several different reasons. It's fun and upbeat, has a really nice groove to it, and, as you would expect from Splatoon music, contains samples and instruments that are just a joy to listen to. Similar to some of the other tunes from Hero Mode that I've already made some videos on, this one right here also has a slight march-like vibe to it. Not so much in a military sense, but more like you're steadily and confidently walking towards your next challenge. I'd say this is mainly due to the strong and mostly consistent drum beat. Probably the overall most prominent and instantly noticeable element in this piece of music has to be the bass though. I mean, what a bass line. This is how you write for bass. I've said the same thing in my video about already, but I'm getting quite strong classic Sonic vibes from this music. Especially because of this awesome in-your-face bass. It's something that would fit really well into a game like Sonic 3 or especially Sonic CD in my opinion. The bass and the drums seem to make up most of this tune, but if you listen to it with headphones on and you pay attention, you'll notice that there's actually quite a lot going on in the background. There are at least two different synth instruments that seem to be jumping from ear to ear. The main melody, this thick and gritty synth-like instrument, has two echoes as well, one of which you can only hear on your left ear and the other one only on your right ear. That's a pretty neat way to fill out some of the stereo image. On that topic, stereo imaging is a technique frequently used in music production, which basically describes the perceived location of a sound source, so basically where you hear it. It can be laterally, so whether you hear it in the middle, on your left ear, on your right ear, or somewhere in between. And it can be in depth. So whether you hear something right in front of you or somewhere in the distance, in the background. Pretty much to create the illusion of three-dimensional music. Now, very simply put, it's your task as a composer in the music production phase to make sure that a piece of music is not just interesting compositionally, but also regarding creative stuff like this. Stereo imaging is something that really takes quite a while to internalize and to properly realize, in my opinion at least. It's also completely different for every tune. Obviously, this right here is a perfect example of an interesting use of amazing stereo imaging. Interesting melody. This tune has such a nice groove though. So far, I'd say it was the bass. which had the role of providing some sort of main melody. This next section here, however, is introducing an instrument that's taking over this responsibility. Some sort of rough yet juicy synth instrument is playing almost the exact same melodic line 8 times, pretty much just focusing on and around the blues scale. The blues scale. You might be wondering now, what in the world is the blues scale now? But I'm pretty sure most of you are familiar with this kind of sound. Remember that music theory is not about throwing around with musical terms that no one understands, but it's an attempt to describe specific sonic phenomena with the use of words. It's just like learning vocabulary for a language. Anyway, the blues scale that's being used here in the melody sounds like this. What we heard at the beginning of this new section here is pretty much the definition of a heroic and triumphant fanfare. It's 3 major chords in a row, moving up in whole steps. So it starts on a C major, moves to a D major, and then it moves to an E major. That's pretty cool and all, but it does make me wonder just why the tune is getting so triumphant here. If you have any ideas, feel free to let me know. Something I instantly noticed towards the very end of this tune is this, what I like to call stepwise upwards movement, where you start on a note or a chord and always move up a full note, followed by a half note, followed by a full note again, followed by a half note, and so on. There's a track I've already made a video on that also featured this kind of movement, quite prominently actually, and used it in an elegant way to somehow loop the tune back to where it started. Do you remember which tune it was? It was Clickbait. Thanks so much for watching. For more videos like this, you can click here. If you'd like to check out my own little Splatoon inspired album, you can click here. You can also go on Bandcamp, and if you enter the code BING, you get it for 50% off. And here's the Revita soundtrack. See you next time.